iHeartRadio app. Broadcasting from the Rude Air Conditioning Studios, where Buccaneers fans call home. All around the world, we are 95.3 FM, W237CW Pinellas Park, WRUB HD3 Clearwater, and the mighty 620 WDAE St. Petersburg. Streaming live right now on your free iHeartRadio app. All your sports, music, talk, and podcasts. Hey, Bucs fans, free has never sounded so good. It's Tuesday. From Newport Richey to Zephyr Hills and all around Tampa Bay, plus worldwide on iHeartRadio.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up. Because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Yeah, welcome aboard on this Fill in the Blank Tuesday. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. The Drive with TKras, presented by Moss Nissan, is on the air. Great to have you with us on this Tuesday, November the 19th, 2024. Executive producer Chris Mathis is also riding shotgun. We are live in living color, don't you know, on the FM side at 95.3, the mighty AM 620. And don't forget to download the iHeartRadio app absolutely free. Crystal clear reception through the app. It is a beautiful thing. And good afternoon to all of you who are watching us. We're streaming the show. You can watch through YouTube, Facebook, X, at 953 WDAE and AM 620. Like and subscribe.
Great.
It is great on YouTube all day, every day. The phone numbers to get involved. You know them, you love them. Now use them. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945 on the Bartow 4 DAE text platform. Begin your text with DAE, followed by your comments, and 140 characters or less, so they make their way here. And all guests will appear, by the way, on the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DAE hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. And right now, we've got one big guest. He's going to be joining us 1 hour from now from parts unknown, weight unknown, our guy Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com. He's going to be with us, and there's a lot to talk to him about because he had a very interesting story over at PFT and football, Sunday Night Football in America, which he is a part of on NBC, by the way, each and every Sunday night. Can't forget about his work there. And we're going to talk to him about things that are happening in the NFL. Buccaneers coming off the bye. They're going to be facing a different quarterback, Chicken Parmesan or whatever his name is. What's his name? Bill Cutley. Tommy Cutlets, whatever. Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito was a guy.
No.
What?
You insulted him a little bit.
He's the guy who got whacked in Goodfellas. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
I
remember you making the reference, last year, or when they played last. I know last season when DeVito was talked about because he went on a little bit of a run or won 3 games last year as quarterback of the Giants.
Yeah, he beat the Packers one of those games.
He pulled off the upset there.
Well, look, Tommy DeVito will be under center for the Giants on Sunday, so we'll find out what's that going to mean for the Buccaneers as they come off the bye. They got some good news over the weekend. We'll talk a lot of Bucs, a lot of NFL throughout the course of this 4-hour extravaganzas. We'll take you all the way up until 7 o'clock here on a Tuesday, but we'll get with Mike Florio on that. I've got some thoughts on some things that happened over the weekend in a lot of different areas, including the NFL, where the Buccaneers got themselves a little bit of help over the weekend. So a lot of Bucs and NFL talk on this program. We've got Fill in the Blank. That's coming up, according to my sources, at 5:30, presented by my friends over at California Closets. We'll be constructing a W coming up a little bit later on this hour at 3:45. Lightning are back in action. That's the other thing that I observed from over the weekend. I tell you, man, give the Lightning a lot of credit because they used their week off to their advantage. They came back off that week off. They dusted a 15-1 Winnipeg team, and then they turned around and they worked over Jersey over the weekend. So great effort by the Bolts. They're in Pittsburgh tonight against Sidney Crosby and company. That's Jay Gensel going back to Pittsburgh, and we'll be constructing a W around the Lightning coming up at 3:45. So a lot to do, a lot of calls, a lot of your texts. You know, it was gratifying to actually have a weekend off. I mean, the Bucs were off, so I decided to take a couple days off. It was my mother's birthday, so spent a lot of quality time with the family, which can always be interesting in a lot of different ways. And then it was nice on a Sunday to just kind of relax and watch football just like everybody else. Watch a lot of different things. I observed a lot of different trends and watching some of those games on Sunday night. And it was a game last night where the Cowboys, my goodness, you want to talk about a team that is absolutely in the toilet right now. It's the Dallas Cowboys. 0-5 at home, and in all 5 home games, they've been slaughtered by the competition for the most part. And by the way, the Bucs have to go there on a Sunday night in a couple of weeks. It would behoove the NFL executives to get that game off Sunday night. Because I don't think anybody, look, I don't care about the Cowboys. I don't want to see the Cowboys. Anytime you turn on the 4-letter network, all they're talking about is the Cowboys. Here's the news flash. Nobody cares, dude. Nobody. They're not America's team anymore. They're America's favorite tragedy. America's favorite car wreck. Nobody cares. Get them off primetime. Nobody wants to see them on primetime. Nobody wants to see them playing at home either. They had a piece of the roof falling off last night. You guys were able to see that?
Yeah, no, everybody was upset at Jerry Jones for never opening up the roof. They open up the roof, boom. I mean, somebody could have just been taken out, dude.
That's just bad luck, you know? By the way, how did everything go Friday and yesterday? I heard Rock Riley. Yeah, Rock Riley back in the air chair. I did a show here on Saturdays once upon a time. Me and Chris Mathis. Yeah. Chris Mathis, the superstar of DAE. I saw that little hype video he put out there with you and him. You're hanging around in the background, you know.
No, we had a good time, man. But grateful that you're back, and no better timing either. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, a lot that you so-called missed Friday and yesterday, but that's what you have today for, Tom.
I'll tell you, and there's a lot to discuss. There is a developing story on a couple of different fronts on the same topic that I'm going to discuss right now. And folks, the situation is dire when it comes to the Rays and their place here in Tampa Bay. Dire with a capital D. And that is the subject of our opening drive here on a Tuesday.
Start the engine. Gas to the floor. Here's the opening drive.
It's not a good scene. You know, it's not, Kevin Cash. So on Thursday, I was here. I was talking to Matt Silverman. He joined the show, and that is when the announcement came about that the Rays are going to be playing at Steinbrenner Field. And in my opinion, and I had projected that was going to be their place a couple of days prior. I really didn't have any insider information on that. I just felt like it was the perfect place for the Rays for a lot of different reasons. And the Pinellas County Commissioner obviously did not agree. That's Chris Latvala. Now, he will join us on the show tomorrow. We efforted to get him on the show today, but the Pinellas County Commissioners are meeting as we speak. That meeting started at 2 o'clock. That's going to go all the way through the afternoon, all the way up until 8 o'clock. The Rays, by the way, are at this meeting that's taking place right now with the Pinellas County Commission. And we may very well get some breaking news coming out of this meeting while we're still on the air. We're on the air until 7, and if anything happens there, we're going to let you know. But Pinellas County Commissioner Chris Latvala will join me on the show tomorrow, and there's a lot to discuss with him about. Now, I'll say this right now, okay? You could be upset. You can be annoyed about what's happening right now with the Rays, and I would say that their place or their standing here in Pinellas County and in Tampa Bay altogether is tenuous, to say the least. I think we're on shaky ground. And if you had to compare this to like a military type of situation, DEFCON 1 is like, World War III. Pretty much, if you remember the movie War Games. And a lot of people get that flipped around. Oh, DEFCON 5. We're in DEFCON 5. We're in panic mode. No, it's the other way around. DEFCON 5 is totally normal. It's peace. It's tranquility. It's serenity now. Insanity later. But DEFCON 1 is all the way at the opposite end of the spectrum. DEFCON 1 means World War III, dire situation, all hands on deck. In my opinion, right now, the Rays standing in Tampa Bay is DEFCON 2. We're almost there, folks. And I think right now is an opportunity for maybe cooler heads to prevail. I don't know if that will happen because there is some breaking news on what the Rays are trying to do behind the scenes to get these bonds approved. We know that there have been a chain of events that has occurred over the last six weeks or so. And it started, unfortunately, with Hurricane Milton. If you want to point to one area, something to blame, and everyone wants somebody that they can blame. And a lot of people are pointing the finger to Chris Latvala. A lot of people are pointing the finger at Stu Sternberg. But if you're going to point the finger and point to one event that has led us to this situation right now, it's Hurricane Milton. It is an act of God because when that took place and that ripped off the roof of the Trop, it has set into motion a chain of events that has led us to this point right here, right now, which is this. Baseball in Tampa Bay is in serious danger. I'm just telling you right now. And it's not because necessarily of Stu Sternberg, although he is not without blame. Everyone wants to pile on the Pinellas County Commissioner, Chris Latvala. And I'll just say this, okay? And it's not his fault either because you knew back in July he was against this. And he will join me on the show tomorrow at 4:30. But while I'm on that subject, and I'm going to say this. Under no circumstances are you to engage in any sort of behavior toward a celebrity, public official, what have you. That is going to end up with you going to jail. Don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Don't be that person. There was a death threat made against Chris Latvala, and I think that's despicable. It was a 17-year-old kid from Pinellas County who went on Twitter and threatened to kill this guy. Don't do that. That's vile, disgusting behavior, and I want to know where that kid's father is at, by the way. If that was my kid, there'd be furniture moving, and I think that would be the start of that conversation. It may end in a different way, but don't be that person, okay? And while we're at it, you shouldn't be inciting a mob either. And that is a message that should be received by somebody else. But don't be that person by being, and I've seen a lot of social media, and this is why social media to me is just vile, and it really has no place in society, but it is a part of today's culture, and I understand that. And trust me, I've been on that side of it too, where people are coming after me on X or Twitter or for whatever reason, and people just want to be outraged, and that is the culture that we live in. What an outrage. I can't believe this is happening. Everyone wants their pound of flesh, but there are ways to go about it. If you are not happy with an elected official, vote him out. That's how you handle that. You don't threaten the person unless you want to go to jail. And if you're getting that message from someone else, then that person's an idiot. And I'll just leave it at that. But I was absolutely dismayed when I saw that over the weekend. That some person, because they're upset, if a lot of you, projected your anger and used it in a positive way, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. What am I talking about? I could be talking about a lot of different things. Everyone was outraged about what took place here a couple of weeks ago. And I couldn't believe, the outpouring of outrage and disgust and anger. Where was it for the last couple of years? Because if my guys got that sort of support, they would still be here. That's another story for another day. I'm on one today, boy. Being out for 4 days and observing what I've observed, I'm telling you, it makes me sick to my stomach. And look, the Rays are not without fault either. They're trying to press the issue. So the breaking news that took place just a couple of hours ago is that the Rays have sent a warning letter to the Pinellas County Commission saying that a deal for a new stadium is at best in serious jeopardy. And that the team stands, quote, ready to work on a new solution in Tampa Bay, whatever that means. And a lot of you are already thinking, well, maybe they can end up in Hillsborough. That would be great. But guess what? That ship sailed about 7 years ago, when a deal was right there, ready to be had. And I've talked about this time and time again. And Stu Sternberg had the opportunity to put up his end of the money for that Ybor Stadium, and he didn't do it. And I think there was some remorse after the fact. But now fast forward, we're in a situation where there's a $1.3 billion stadium as part of the gas plant district redevelopment deal that is on the table right now. And because of the hurricane, and again, that is the one event that you can't point to, and it's, well, how can you blame a hurricane? It's just an unfortunate fact of life. Things happen that you have no control over. The Rays didn't have control over it. Pinellas County officials didn't have control over it. It was an act of God, unfortunately. And now we're all dealing with the consequences. But when Hurricane Milton blew through, it has set forth a chain of events that has gotten us to this point. Because the Trop got tore up, the Rays had to look for an alternative place to play. And the only logical destination for them was Steinbrenner Field for a lot of different reasons. And I know the county commission is not happy about that. I know Chris Ledval is not happy about that. That's one of the things that we're going to talk about when he joins us tomorrow. But Baycare Ballpark in Clearwater was not equipped to handle Major League Baseball because it's not only the Rays and the organization, what their front office and what their ownership decided to do, but they also had their players in mind. There's a players union that you had to acquiesce to. Major League Baseball got involved. And the only place for the Rays to play in 2025, the best option was Steinbrenner Field from a capacity standpoint, from an infrastructure standpoint, from a facility standpoint, from a parking standpoint. It checked all those boxes. I'm sorry. TD Ballpark in Dunedin, you cannot play 81 games there and park where exactly? And they don't have the facilities that the Rays needed for their players. Ditto Baycare. They didn't have the facilities. 8,000 capacity. Steinbrenner Field was the only logical option for the Rays. And because they picked it, because the Trop got torn up because of the hurricane, this is what we're talking about. This is why we're in the position that we're in right now. And now, because of the hurricane, the bonds might be delayed. And if the bond vote's going to be delayed, it looks like the Rays are trying to pull the old squeeze play on the Pinellas County Commission. Like it or not. And they're trying to get the commission to push the bond vote through because they have a lot of people on standby who are waiting to work on the project of the new stadium, and now that has been suspended. which, according to the team, has cost them tens of millions of dollars. Architects, people, project managers, people that were going to work on the new stadium were supposed to relocate, come here, set up shop while they do their business, and now apparently that's off the table. And if that's off the table, then a new stadium is not going to be built. And I think I said this when the vote came down. I'm like, oh, this is great, and everyone's celebrating, but I'm one of those people that is not convinced until that shovel goes into the ground. Guess what? We may never have that happening, where the shovel actually goes into the ground, we break ground, and here we go. The thing that we've been waiting for, I don't know, I've been here 20 years, and it may not happen now. And now the Rays are pulling the squeeze play on. They are at this Pinellas County Commission hearing, which is going to go on. It started at 2 o'clock. Right now they're talking about, and I have the feed up, somebody's discussing agenda item number 35 at this point. Number 35? That's me, grilled BLT. Give me a BLT with a side of chips. But the Rays are there. And when that item does come up, we're going to keep you updated on what exactly does take place. But I don't think we're going to see a vote. I don't. And that's going to put us in a real tight spot. For the last year and a half, I've been on this station telling you about things that I've been told about different investment groups. And this is another sidebar to this story, which you guys need to be paying close attention to. In the last 2 years, at least, there have been investment groups that have approached Stu Sternberg about buying into the team, if not buying the team altogether. And it has gone as far as a term sheet being put on the table. And obviously that was scrapped at the last minute because there were things happening in terms of the St. Pete City Council, in terms of the mayor putting his stamp of approval, trying to push forward the new stadium deal. That's why the Rays held off, or else I think the Rays would have new owners by now. But that right now is not on the table, but I think that idea, that thought, could be revisited fairly soon based on what happens today. So there's a lot of things that have been put into motion. But basically the bottom line is this. I think we're in real danger of baseball leaving. And you can blame a lot of different people. You can point fingers at a lot of different people. But unfortunately, the one event that you may have to point to at the end of the day, which could throw everything for a loop, was an act of God, which was Hurricane Milton in early October. Because had the trop not been damaged, and we would not be in the situation that we're in right now. And it's dire, folks. I'm telling you, it's dire. We're at DEFCON 2. DEFCON 1 is the team being sold to an investment group, which then moves it to Nashville, or a Hail Mary investment group, and there are a couple of them out there that have made themselves present and available that could, perhaps, I emphasize could, not will, could maybe be a factor at some point. A lot of moving parts. It's exhausting. I can't tell you how many times I've done a show where we're talking about the stadium situation. We're talking about the situation being dire. The Al Lang sale idea that was voted down, that fell apart. And then we were talking about the Ybor Stadium deal, which was so close. I mean, you were at the 5-yard line. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the ball into the end zone because of finances, mainly on Stu Sternberg's part. And I will lay it right at his doorstep because that should have happened. That should have been nailed down. And had it happened at that time, and I've talked about it in the 4, 5, 6 years since, I think that stadium would have opened this year down at Ybor, probably where it does belong. But now here we are in a dire situation where this bond vote gets delayed. And if the bond vote gets delayed, all bets are off in terms of baseball staying here in Tampa Bay for the long term. And that would be a damn shame for everybody involved because everybody loses. The Rays may not lose because depending upon what happens to them, based on that lease agreement with the Trop, they do have redevelopment rights. So that money is still going to them regardless. 888-546-4620. Lot happening with the Rays, and we'll keep you updated on this Pinellas County Commission meeting. It's a public hearing. It started at 2 o'clock. It's going to go out throughout the afternoon. The Rays are there, and if something does break from this said meeting, we're going to bring it to you right here on the show. But we'll take your calls. I know a lot of people are upset. Make sure, okay, that your passion, I wouldn't call it anger. I hope it's not anger. Look, I'm upset too about this, but make sure it's in a good place, not in an irresponsible, reckless type of place. But a lot of calls and texts. We'll be constructing a W at 3:45. Mike Florio, 4:05. Fill in the blank at 5:30. The latest news on the Rays makes me feel blank. Fill in the blank is coming up. We'll take you up until 7 o'clock. Great to have you with us. It's great to be back on the drive. Yours truly, Tom Krasnicki with you. Chris Mathis on the other side. Your calls and texts on the Rays are coming up. Plus, Buccaneers coming back off the bye. 7 games left. The most important player for the Buccaneers defense moving forward is
953 WDAE.com/rules. Strap in and buckle up. This is The Drive with TKras, brought to you by Moss Nissan on WDAE.
He just got to keep playing. Play a safety position. The quarterback don't throw you the ball. Might not get that many opportunities. He don't need to press. Everybody that went through slumps in this league, missing tackles, but Winfield be just fine. I know you guys are used to the splash plays, so when they ain't there, we sound the alarm.
Bucs co-defensive coordinator Larry Foote speaking about Antoine Winfield Jr. The Buccaneers are back off the bye. They'll take on the New York Football Giants up at MetLife Sunday at 1 o'clock. And in my humble opinion, the most important player coming out of the bye is Antoine Winfield Jr. Welcome back. 3:35 on your ride home. It is The Drive with TKras. Great to have you with us. I'm back. Much to your chagrin. 888-546-4620.
Tom, we love you.
Oh, thank you, Coach. Get back to work. Back to walk. Back to walk. Buccaneers have 7 games left. The schedule is favorable. We know that. However, and I know Todd Bowles talked about this last week, and I talked about this last week as well, and I'll reiterate it here. You can't take anyone lightly. I don't care if it's Tommy DeVito or Jimmy Conway starting at quarterback for the Giants on Sunday. The Bucs can't afford to take anybody lightly. Have you seen their defense? Deplorable. And part of the reason why is everyone wants to blame Todd Bowles. Whatever, fine. That's his side of the ball, absolutely, and he deserves his fair share of the blame. However, there are guys who are not living up to their reputation or contract. And Antoine Winfield is one of those guys, and I love him to death. The guy's an extraordinary player. And we talked about this over the summer. It was almost impossible for Antoine Winfield Jr. to follow up on the kind of year he had from a year ago. That was one of the best years I've ever seen in my 50 years of watching football that a safety put forth. One of the very best. As a blitzer, as a guy in coverage, as a guy who gets his hands on footballs, as a guy who punches footballs out. And he did so game after game after game after game. I'm telling you, season-saving plays. None more so important than the game at Carolina, last game of the regular season, where the Buccaneers were absolutely on the verge of missing the playoffs and getting knocked out if they hadn't won that game. And Antoine Winfield Jr. came out of nowhere to punch that ball out and basically save the season. Buccaneers rewarding him, highest paid defensive back of all time at the time. And now this year, you're not seeing those splash plays. In fact, he got hurt in the first game, and then he missed 4 games with that foot injury, and then he came back, and he hasn't been the same. He has not been getting in the passing lanes. He has not been causing those game-splashing type of plays, splash plays, the strip sacks that we've seen, the forced fumbles that we've seen, getting caught out of position, missing a ton of tackles, taking poor angles like he took 2 weeks ago against Ricky Pearsall, the 49ers, on that touchdown. The missed tackles part of it, too. And Larry Foote talked about that part of it yesterday at the press conference.
I don't know. You got to ask him that. But it's hard to bring guys down in this league. I can speak for that for myself. I'm perfectly healthy, but I miss a tackle that normally I'll make. And it's hard to get guys on the ground. I always, like I said earlier, I challenge the guys to get off blocks, get more hats to the ball. It's hard to bring guys down.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. There are a couple of teams that, yes, that is a problem. You know which teams are those? Bad teams. Teams that are not going to the playoffs. Bad teams miss tackles. Bad players miss tackles. Last time I checked, Antoine Winfield Jr. is not a bad player. He's not. He's just not playing up to his standards, up to his capability, up to his contract. None of that is happening right now. And if the Buccaneers are going to make a charge, it's because of Antoine Winfield Jr. back to being that big-time playmaker on the defensive side. The sacks, the punch-outs, the game-changing type of plays, the game-saving type of plays. If the Bucs are going to turn it around, it's because the defense gets better. Why does the defense get better? It's Antoine Winfield Jr. back to being the big-time playmaker that we all know and love. The Bucs absolutely need that to happen. They need Antoine Winfield Jr. to return to his playmaking form, and it's got to start Sunday against Veal Parmesan or whatever his name is, Tommy Cutlets or whatever.
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Hey, what's the matter with you? You know? I don't know about you, Chris Mathis. You may fold under questioning. 888-546-4620.
I don't know. I think based on the Mathis movie trivia we've been doing, I haven't folded over the last couple of one of those, so I feel pretty decent.
Yeah, you feel pretty decent, except the Halloween one, I think you missed the most egregious question. The most Whenever I talk about,
6 times.
I shot him 6 times.
Hey, 6, I got it.
How many times? I mean, come on. That's like who's buried in Grant's tomb. You missed that.
I did.
What's the matter with you?
It looked like the Rays offense.
You should have been.
said that today.
Listen,
that's
man.
bad timing.
That's terrible.
Even though you everything we do.
I can hear you.
I bet you can, Eric. Eric Neander wants no part of this conversation. You know, he's trying to get the Rays to a better place, and now that they know where they're going to play, at least for 2025, I don't know where the Rays are going to be playing in 2026. I have no idea. And I'm very interested in seeing what happens here. They're still on agenda item number 35. Number 35? Yeah, it's me, a meatball sub there. But we'll keep you updated. Now, the Rays are at this meeting. It's also a public hearing. So I see people in the background. I'm watching the live feed as we're doing this show, and I see a whole lot of people there, and the Rays are there. And when their item comes up on the agenda, it's going to be, you know, a very interesting turn of events. But, you know, the hurricane is certainly not helping matters any, I can tell you that much. That has set forth a chain of events that has led us to this point, and boy, oh boy, it's not good. 888-546-4620. We'll talk to Mike Florio. He's coming up at 4:05. We've got Fill in the Blank in the 5 o'clock hour. Alex is in Tarpon Springs. Alex, what's going on? Welcome in.
Hey, TKras, welcome back. Chris told me I got to spit this out quickly, so I'm going to try here. I'm looking at the Bucs' easy schedule left. Falcons got a tough one. Okay, I think Washington has an easy one. Green Bay has an easy one. Minnesota has a tough one. Do you see any scenario in which the NFC South sends both the Bucs and the Falcons to the playoffs, or do you think that only the division winner gets there? Because I do think Minnesota's sliding. I'll hang up and listen. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you very much, Alex in Tarpon Springs. And the short answer to that is no. I don't think 2 teams from the NFC South will be in the playoffs. You got to win the division. It is just way too competitive. If you look around, Eagles 8-2, leading the East. Commandos 7-4. The Lions are just an absolute wrecking machine ever since they lost to the Buccaneers, ironically enough.
Say that again.
Yes. The Lions have won 8 in a row, and they are just smashing teams to bits. Smashing them. But 52 points up on the Jaguars. Doug Peterson still employed, by the way?
Some way, somehow.
And then you have the Vikings are at 8-2. I don't think they're going anywhere, Alex. They've won 3 in a row. Packers 7-3. And then out west, the Cardinals are surprising people. Rams 5-5. Seahawks 5-5. Niners 5-5. Very tight. So only one team out of the South is getting in, and that's the team that wins this division. All right, when we come back, we'll talk more Bucs and NFL. Mike Florio coming up at 4 o'clock. But on the way back, the Lightning are in action tonight. It's a homecoming of sorts for one Lightning
AM 620. Powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Follow WDAE on social, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Now, back to The Drive with TKras on WDAE. Streaming live on Alexa and the free iHeartRadio app. Constructing a W, presented by CMK Construction.
And here to lay it all on the line, Chris Mathis.
Well, we are talking hockey, and I would, in fact, lay in front of a puck there to help my team win a big game. Bolts take on the Penguins on the road up in Pittsburgh tonight, Tom.
They do, and look, the Lightning have looked really good. I'll be constructing a W for our Bolts. Back-to-back impressive wins. They beat a 15-1 Winnipeg team. And then they came back and smacked Jersey around a little bit, shut them out, in fact, 4-0. And the Lightning are going to get one of their best players back tonight. John Cooper said after the morning skate around, Gabby Shirley had it. Braden Point, Blackjack Braden Point, has missed the last 4 games with that lower body injury. He will return tonight. A huge lift for the Lightning, which means that line of Kucherov, Point, and Jake Gensel, the former Pittsburgh Penguin, will be back to full strength. By the way, speaking of Kucherov, who's had another tremendous start to the season, nobody has more road points so far in the NHL this season. He's got 11 of them, than Nikita Kucherov. And now you got Braden Point back. Jake Gensel goes back to Pittsburgh. Remember, he spent a great deal of time there before signing with the Lightning as a free agent. So it's that big line of Point, Kucherov, and Gensel that gets them going here tonight.
Now on the flip side for Pittsburgh, yeah, you talk about a tough task for the goaltender, Tristan Jarry, to have to deal with here tonight. This is his 5th start. Exactly. 5th start of the year. Tom, in 4
Jack
starts.
Mayhofer.
Might as well say that. In 4 starts, this goaltender for Pittsburgh has given up 17 goals. He's going to have a tough task at hand here tonight. Fortunately, he is at home, but he's going to have to play an exceptional game against your Tampa Bay Lightning offense, an offense that's averaging nearly 4 goals per game so far this season.
Well, the Lightning can light it up, and now with Pointer back, they should do the same tonight, 7 o'clock. Lightning at Pittsburgh. We construct a W each and every day at this time, courtesy of CMK Construction, the kitchen and bath experts, proudly serving Tampa Bay and Sarasota communities. Call them today, 813-321-4426, or visit cmkconstructioninc.com. Together, we'll make tomorrow brighter. So a lot of you are chiming in on the text platform, on the Rays, their situation, the bond vote. It doesn't look good. The public hearing is going on right now, and it will. We're on 22 now.
Well, it's a pretty big jump. It was just at 35 when you were ordering a sandwich.
I was. I know. The number 22, yeah, give me a turkey club, hold the mayo. We're on number 22.
You want a beer as well?
I would, After all of this, I mean.
Drinks around the house.
Yeah, on the house. Absolutely. But we'll keep you updated on everything that takes place at this hearing. The Rays are there. Their higher-ups are there. One of you bozos on the Bartow 4D. Hey, who's there from the... None of you. None of your damn business who's there. A couple of people from their front office are there. That's all you need to know. Do the math. Gosh, I got to explain every little thing to some of these people out here. And we'll keep you updated. It's not going good. And if that stadium is dead, and that is the vibe that I'm getting from people that I spoke to earlier today, if the stadium deal is dead, then we have a major problem. Yes, baseball is in serious jeopardy, as I mentioned right at the top at 3 o'clock. And we're at DEFCON 2. And we go to DEFCON 1, it's over. Then you're talking about Stu Sternberg, who has listened to offers on his team over the last couple of years. And he will absolutely do the same here. He may not move the team himself, but I think he's going to sell the team to somebody who will move it. And there's an ownership group up in Nashville that's interested. It's led by Justin Timberlake and, a couple of other ownership groups here in the state of Florida for whatever that's worth. But this is an awful situation. And somebody texting in out of the 813, could we get an expansion team? That would be a no. If a team leaves here, chances are you're probably not going to get another one unless somebody with a lot of deep pockets all of a sudden steps in, because the expansion fee would be in the neighborhood of $500 million. Oh, my God, I'm sick to my stomach. Yeah, Pete Fairbanks, sorry, buddy. I wish I had better news, because baseball leaving here would be terrible for everybody. Everyone. Lost jobs. As a region, you lose that economic boost that the Rays would bring to wherever they may end up being. That's why the 30-year commitment was going to be a good one between Pinellas County and St. Pete and the Rays, because you're creating thousands of jobs. You're driving people toward Pinellas County. Look, I think people were going to Pinellas regardless, but I think you're driving even more people there, which means hundreds of millions of dollars over the 30 years are going to be pumped into Pinellas as a result of the Rays being there. It's great for everybody. And now you're telling me that this deal is done and now baseball is probably not going to exist? Because, again, like the hurricane that moved through and set off these chain of events, the Rays leaving is going to set off another chain of events. One that I may not be able to live with. All right, 1 hour's in the books, 3 more hours to go. Coming up, Bucs are coming off the bye. Can they make a run? Who's the best team in the NFL? Which coach is the next one to get fired? And breaking news on an NFL GM that was given third prize.
has never sounded so good. It's Tuesday from Gulfport to Clearwater and all around Tampa Bay, plus worldwide on iHeartRadio.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
I actually feel like a player right now. So ever since I've been out, they've been treating me like a coach. So feel good to finally feel like a player again.
Oh, good to have you back. That's Jamel Dean and the Buccaneers. They're coming back off the bye. 7 games to go. They're 4-6. Can the Buccaneers make a drive toward the postseason? Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. 4:05 on your ride home. It is hour number 2 of the drive with your guy TKras, Tom Krasnicki. Great to have you with us. Great to be back after a weekend off. Chris Mathis on the other side. More of your calls and texts coming up. Fill in the blank in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll take you into 7 o'clock. If anything breaks in regards to the Rays, the Pinellas County Commission is going through their hearing right now. There's actually public comments taking place right now. People are commenting on the Rays and the funding, which looks like it's all but dead in the water, which is not good for us here in Tampa Bay, but we'll keep you apprised of all of that coming up. But the Buccaneers coming back off their bye will take on another team coming back off their bye, the New York Football Giants with Tommy Cutlets there, Tommy DeVito being the quarterback, and Tommy D, he's the guy who got whacked in Goodfellas. My favorite movie of all time, by the way. And let's go to the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. He is standing by. He is the author of a book, On Our Way Home. It is back for the holiday season at a new price. He's going to tell you about that. He is being led toward the ring by his manager, the devious one, Mr. Fuji, from Parts Unknown, ProFootballTalk.com, Football Sunday Night in America as well on NBC. Our guy Mike Florio is back with us here on the show. Mike, what's happening?
Was Mr. Fuji a wrestler before he became a valet?
He was. He was Mr. Fuji and Mr. Saito. They were tag team champions. I remember as a kid, Mike, back in the day, they beat Tony Gurria and Rick Martel when Mr. Fuji reached into his tights and he pulled out one of those, those McDonald's like salt packets, and he threw it right in the face of Rick Martel, and that's how they won the tag team belts. There's a history lesson
for you. Foreign object. The foreign object. The guy who had always, at least was suspected of the foreign object, was Iron Mike Sharp with that big wrap on his arm.
Yes.
There was a foreign object inside Iron Mike Sharp's foreign arm wrap, whatever that thing was.
Yeah, it was like an arm brace.
In any other sport, any other player, any other time, it was the one and only Iron Mike Sharp arm wrap.
He was one of the great jobbers of all time. Then, of course, Cowboy Bob Orton had the whole cast on his arm. That always was a point of contention as well. Wrestling back in the day was something else.
Who did the atomic heart punch?
Oh, that was well, I know Ivan Putski did the Polish Hammer. It was kind of like the same thing.
Stan Stasiak? Is that even a guy?
I think that was
Is that a name?
I think that's a guy. The heart punch?
The heart punch, he'd put your arm up over your head while you were partially passed out, and your arm would magically stay there. He'd prop it up behind your head in an unnatural position, and it stayed there. And then he'd do the heart punch.
You are correct. Mike Florio, how about that? It was Stan Stasiak. The dreaded heart punch was his finishing move.
Heart punch.
The atomic heart punch.
Atomic heart punch.
Very good.
Maybe that was the inspiration for the move in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where they actually reached into your chest and removed your beating heart and showed it to you.
Oh,
that would be a finishing move.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think Joe Douglas had the atomic heart punch administered to him by Woody Johnson.
Joe Douglas was like Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh my gosh! So let's talk about the mess that is the Jets. And truth be told, Mike, originally from New York, that was my team growing up, and I've seen this for 50 years. I mean, this organization is an absolute disaster. And the latest to go was GM Joe Douglas today.
I just feel like Woody Johnson, the owner of the team, believed he needed to do something during the bye week, and he'd already fired the coach. You're not going to fire the interim coach. You're not going to fire the owner, although plenty of Jets fans would be happy if he did.
I would.
So they move on from Joe Douglas, and what does it really do to help the team down the stretch? What does it really do? It gives the fans another pound of flesh so they can fool themselves into thinking that things are going to get better. Are they really going to get better? Who knows? But it also makes it clear that there's a new regime next year. They can fully begin and embrace the search. And the other question, too, is how involved is Woody even going to be? He could get a spot in the next administration. He had a spot in the last one as the U.S. ambassador to the UK. There's been talk that he may go back there. He may go somewhere else. So is it going to be him? Is it going to be his brother Christopher? And all we know for now is something that we kind of expected. It's going to be clean slate, GM coach next year. And what it also means, too, because just a week ago, Aaron Rodgers said he plans to play in 2025. I don't think the Jets are going to want him. New GM and new coach are going to want to move on to somebody else because Rodgers isn't who he was in the past, and he's more trouble than he's worth at this stage of his career, and he's too identified with the last failed regime.
I could not agree more. I think they need to move off of him, a.k.a. the delicate genius, as you like to call him, and I think the Jets need a clean house, and they need to start over again and keep the nucleus of guys that includes Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson on the offensive side, Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner on the defensive side, and they just have to start over. And I know everyone in New York is impatient, but that's the only way to go from here. And I have no idea who's going to want that job, Mike. Who's going to want that job?
Well, you know, that's the thing. When you've got a dysfunctional team that has a history of cleaning house and not sticking with its coaches, and anybody that's got options is going to go somewhere else. The only thing that would be useful at this point would be for them to go so deep into the tank that they end up with an attractive and viable draft pick, and that then you come in as part of that new regime knowing you can go out and pick whoever you want to take over. But I think we're getting close to the point where incoming college players, given the NIL reality and the money that they make and can have in the bank, I expect and I hope, and I think this would be a good thing for one of these players, maybe more of these players, to refuse to go to a place like the Jets, a place like Carolina, where there's a recent history of ruining quarterbacks. I'm not starting my career there. I refuse to play for you, and I won't sign a contract, and I've got enough money that I don't need to sign a contract. I'll just re-enter the draft next year.
What a mess. Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com's with me here on The Drive. All right, let's talk about the Bucs. 4-6. They're coming out of the bye. So are the Giants. They're coming out of the bye. Mike, they got 7 games left. Can the Buccaneers, in your opinion, make a run perhaps?
I think they can for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're better than they've been playing. I think that's a given. They've had some bad luck. And, look, I know that you have to make your own luck, and at a certain point you just kind of are who you are. But the fact that the Falcons have lost 2 in a row and they have sunk to 6-5, it creates an opening. And, yes, the Bucs have to pick up one game beyond whatever a tie would be because of the head-to-head tiebreaker. But I think the fact that the Falcons are starting to sink back to the pack, you get the 2-week break, hopefully get Mike Evans back. I don't know where that currently stands, but I think the Bucs could make a run and still get to the playoffs. The clear thing, though, is when you look around at the other divisions, only one team is getting out of the South, the champion. Whoever finishes second isn't going to make it this year. So it's going to be win the division or go home. And if you win the division, you're guaranteed at least one playoff game, and you see what happens.
Mike Evans is slated to come back this week. Jamel Dean's going to come back, so they're slowly starting to get some of these guys back. And you just mentioned the Falcons. My goodness, I watched some of that game on Sunday. They were so bad. They failed to show up. And how about Sean Payton sweeping the NFC South altogether this year?
Hey, that's the way to do it. He knows that division better than anyone, really, and he goes in and he gets it done. And yeah, that was just an embarrassment. 38-6. I thought the Broncos would win, but not like that. And then you got 2 weeks until your next game where you're already got to stew on that and deal with that and try to figure out how you're going to overcome. It's not going to be easy for the Atlanta Falcons.
It's not. Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com is with me here. So, based on what you saw on Sunday, the Bills with a big win. They beat Kansas City. They knocked them from the ranks of the unbeaten. We do a thing on Tuesdays, Mike, called Fill in the Blank. So, fill in the blank for me. The best team in the NFL right now is blank.
Without question, the Detroit Lions. Without question. It was the Lions for several weeks for me, even though they weren't undefeated. When the Chiefs got to 9-0, the way they won that game over the Broncos, it just felt like it was inevitable that the Chiefs were going to keep going and going and going, and then, of course, they fell flat on their faces. The Lions are the best team in the NFL by far. They've got 3 wins by 38 or more points. No one's done that in the history of the NFL, and they still got 7 games left to do it again, and maybe again. They had their biggest win in franchise history last weekend, 52-6 over the Jaguars, also the worst loss for the Jaguars, and 9-1 for the first time since 1934. The Lions are having one of those seasons that is so magical and so special. It just makes you wonder what's going to happen to them divisional round and championship round. I think back to a team like the 98 Vikings where everything was falling their way. They were blowing people out. You get into a close game in the playoffs, you get a little tight, and the worst thing that could happen, I was saying this earlier today, I'm always a believer that if you have a special season, you win the division, you're the 1 seed, the last team you want coming in during the postseason is a team from your division because they know you well, they're not intimidated, they almost relish the opportunity to stick it to you and end your special year. There's another team the Lions should worry about beyond like the Packers and the Vikings, assuming they both get in. I don't want Matthew Stafford coming back. They dodged the bullet with Matthew Stafford in the playoffs last year. They dodged the bullet with him to start the season this year. I don't want to give Matthew Stafford a third shot to come in and beat me. So if I'm the Lions, every week I am checking the Rams scores and the rest of the NFC West. I do not want the Rams getting what likely will be the 1 spot out of the NFC West in the postseason.
And I think the Eagles are playing great football right now. They've won 6 in a row. You know, it's funny because the Eagles, ever since the Bucs beat them, they haven't lost a game. The Lions, ever since they lost to the Buccaneers, they haven't lost the game as well. You just talked about the Jaguars, and I want to ask you about their situation because you had the story on Sunday that maybe Bill Belichick, who's waiting in the wings, and I find it very interesting, by the way, that he's all over the media side of it, a guy who is very gruff, obviously, to the media for all those years. But Belichick has set himself up, Mike, for an opportunity to get back in the game. We all know he's going to get back in the game. And you have mentioned the Jaguars as a possible destination. Tell us why.
Well, and let me be specific on what I was hearing over the weekend as the talk of a change in Jacksonville was reaching a fever pitch. Doug Peterson, the head coach, expected to be out, although here we are 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock Eastern time on a Tuesday, 2 days after that 52-6 loss, and Peterson hasn't been fired yet. But they also haven't come out and said or leaked he's not going to be, which I think is significant as well. Unless the Jaguars have no idea how to handle PR, and I've reached out to them a couple times saying, hey, are we on the right track here? What should we do? What's going on? They need to make it clear he's not going if he's not going. The other personality in all this is Trent Baalke, the GM of the team, the guy who put together the team that owner Shad Khan has said most talented team in franchise history. The talk is, and the belief is, that Baalke might be trying to work a package deal where, hey, I'll stay and I'll get Belichick to be the coach. Now, whether or not that works is a different issue. But there's some talk and some speculation that could happen, and who knows what's really happening behind the scenes. And sometimes we know things that we can't really say that are happening behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But I'm keeping an eye on that. And Belichick to the Jaguars would make sense for a couple of reasons. They have a talented team. And I think Jacksonville, this is what I believe. I don't know, but I believe that's the one place where he'd be able to truly bring the band back together. Bring Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, with him. Bring Joe Judge with him. Bring Matt Patricia, who was offensive coordinator near the end in New England. That's one of the reasons why Belichick's not there. You know, bring Mike Lombardi, who would be probably a wedge for the whole Baalke arrangement. And so it wouldn't surprise me if that's something Lombardi was against. But, you know, bring all those folks down to Jacksonville, run things the way Belichick wants. And there's no denying he's a great coach. The question is, what kind of personnel support is he going to have, and what's he going to be able to do with the talent that he inherits from whoever wherever it's Jacksonville or whichever place he goes. what's he going to do with the talent that's there?
Well, if the Jaguars are going to make a coaching change, I think this would be the time to do it because they're in their bye week, so we'll keep a close eye on that situation. I want to ask you about the Ravens because Lamar Jackson's having an unbelievable year, but they cannot figure out Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, who are now all alone in first place in the AFC North. So what do you make of the Ravens after the fact? Ditto, what do you make of the Steelers after that win?
Well, here's what's amazing. Lamar Jackson has more NFL MVP awards than he has wins over the Steelers in his career. He's 1-4 against Pittsburgh. And the only time he beat Pittsburgh was a combination Mason Rudolph, Devlin, Duck Hodges game in 2019 that went to overtime. He beat Duck Hodges in overtime. That's the only time he's beaten the Steelers. There's just something about Pittsburgh, the way they know how to play Lamar Jackson. He's got that awesome record, like 23-1 against the NFC, because they don't know what to do. They aren't ready to deal with Lamar Jackson. He's a force of nature unlike anything they've encountered. Steelers know him well, and they know what to do. And every one of those Steelers-Ravens games feels the same. Back and forth, both teams in the teens, and that's exactly what we got on Sunday. And the Steelers this year, they have taken this approach where maybe the team hasn't been very good, but Mike Tomlin knows how to take that team and whip it into something better than the sum of the parts. So they got impatient, rightfully so, this offseason, got rid of all their quarterbacks, made the all-in move with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, hired Arthur Smith to be the coordinator, and it's working. So you have a team that is always going to be competitive anyway, even if you and I have starting jobs on the team, and you upgrade the talent in the quarterback room, and all of a sudden you got a team that's 8-2. And they're fun. It's just fun to watch. And I know it was all field goals on Sunday. It's still fun. There's just an element of excitement and uncertainty and unpredictability with the Steelers, and it's just a fun watch. And I think they're going to keep rolling. And, they haven't finished last in their division since 1988. And it was looking going into this season like maybe that would happen. Hasn't happened. And they're one win away from extending Mike Tomlin's streak of never having a losing season since he became the head coach in 2007.
Unbelievable streak. That is Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Chargers, by the way, they will get the Ravens next on Monday night. That should be a heck of a matchup. And where do you think the Chiefs stand right now? Suffering their first loss. Offensively, I just don't know if they have what it takes. Now, they'll get Isaiah Pacheco back. Is he going to be a huge difference maker for them?
They need a guy to come on the way Rashee Rice did last year. Rookie in 2023. Got better as the season went along, made huge contributions down the stretch and into the playoffs. But remember, they were left for dead almost after they lost to the Raiders on Christmas Day. And it was like, man, Chiefs, they're going to be one and done, and they may not even make the playoffs. They hadn't clinched anything. They turned it around. They beat the Bengals on New Year's Eve, and the vibe shifted dramatically. So I think they'll figure something out. We're getting closer and closer to the point in the season where they understand this is our time to shine. They've done it 2 years in a row. Yes, they had some opportunities in front of them that would have been historic. The consecutive win streak of 21, they fell 6 short. The possibility of going undefeated, 20-0. Those are achievements that truly would be one of a kind and stand alone in NFL history. But winning 3 Super Bowls in a row would too. And their quest for that is still very much alive. They're still the 1 seed in the AFC, and I think they'll be fine. And also, it was 30-21. It was 23-21 late. You take out that Josh Allen play, which was a great play, and he deserves a ton of credit for it, and the Bills deserve credit for winning the game. But it's not like they were manhandled. The Chiefs find a way to be in every game, and more often than not, far more often than not, when it gets down to crunch time, they find a way to win.
Well, they need home field advantage, and I think that would be the quickest way to get to New Orleans, at Pittsburgh, and at Denver, the last 2 games of the regular season. That should be interesting. All right, Mike Florio, Pro Football.
They got the Chargers, too. Hey, there's a Chargers game coming up, and I think it's on Sunday Night Football, so I don't get my paycheck unless I mention it. But watch the Chargers. That's a team to be reckoned with in the postseason this year because the way they're built and the way they play. They could go on the road and beat some people and stir up and screw up the AFC standings.
Yep, Chargers in Arrowhead. That is on December the 8th. Yep, Sunday night game. Mike Florio, you're all over it for NBC. Sunday Night Football in America, as well as ProFootballTalk.com. On our way home, back for the holidays. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, this is a Christmas book that I wrote in the month of December 3 years ago. 2 years ago, I posted it one chapter at a time on PFT, kind of like an advent calendar deal. Last year, I decided to make it available to anyone who wanted to buy it, with all the proceeds going to a local charity here. Back this year, the price of the ebook is down to $2.99. The print edition is $9.99. I'm splitting the proceeds between the Michael Phelps Foundation and Enfield Public Schools in Connecticut. The former is because of my connection to Jay Glazer, who supports that charity, and the latter is my connection to Peter King, who's been raising a lot of money for their youth sports programs this year, and he's done a great job of it. So I don't keep a penny. Everything I make goes forward. I just think that it's something that, number one, it's nice to contribute to good causes, but number two, and I know this sounds horribly immodest, but if you're not going to, sell yourself, no one else is going to do it for you. It is a really good book. It's surprisingly good. It's so good, I look at it and I say, I almost said a bad word. Did I write that? It's like, where did that come from? It's like the old, what was the old story about the shoemaker, and you go to bed and you come back the next day and all the shoes were fixed? Like, I don't even remember doing it. Like, where did this thing come from? It really is good. It's a good message for the holiday season. It'll get you in the holiday spirit. And it's got messages of reconciliation and redemption. And I've heard from people who have read it, and it has inspired them to go out and fix broken relationships during the holiday season. A lot of people are lost and upset and isolated during the holidays, and this is hopefully something that will help folks turn some of those negative feelings around and turn it into a positive.
Amen to that, Mike. On our way home, get it wherever you buy your books. It's going to a great cause as well. ProFootballTalk.com. From Parts Unknown, Mike Florio. Mike, have a great Thanksgiving. If we don't talk to you, we'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks, pal. See you.
You got it. All right, it's Mike Florio. Great stuff there. Oh, my gosh, there are things happening all over the place. It's The Drive. It is 4:26 on your ride home. All right, when we come back, there's breaking news. There's breaking news on the Rays off the field. They have just made a trade, and you're not going to believe what they just did. Plus, what is the Rays' future in Tampa Bay? Bay. I mean, we are on the precipice of losing baseball here in the Bay. That's the bottom line. That's what's happening. Right here, right now, that's what's happening. We are on the verge of losing baseball here in Tampa Bay. And the Rays sent a warning letter to the Pinellas County Commission saying, hey, you know, delaying this vote means the stadium deal is going to be finito. And then who knows where the Rays will pivot to from here. Will they play next year in Steinbrenner, and then 2026? Will they take off for somewhere else? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know this. We're at DEFCON 2. DEFCON 1 means we're blanked, and the Rays are somewhere else. Probably in Nashville. So we'll keep you abreast of what's happening there. There is breaking news regarding the Rays and actual baseball activity. Yes, Kevin Cash. And Kevin Cash is probably a very happy camper right now because Jose Siri is now an X-Ray. According to reports, the Rays have traded Jose Siri to... You don't have the theme song.
Oh, no, I don't. That would have been perfect.
Jose Siri, this is just my luck. This is the kind of day I'm having, okay? We're about to lose the Rays, and Jose Siri, the guy that I wanted out of here, has now been traded to the New York Mets. Hey, play from the beginning. Come on. Do it justice. Hit it. Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet Jose Siri. Bring Jose Siri. Guaranteed to have the time of your life. Really sucking the ball, swinging and missing all the time. Oh, my gosh.
No. You insulted him.
I can't believe this. So Jose Siri has been traded to the New York Mets. You can't make this stuff up. In return, the Rays get reliever Eric Orze. O-R-Z-E.
I don't think we've addressed the offense since we last talked.
You didn't do it with this trade, Eric Neander. You just got rid of a problem. It was addition by subtraction. And look, it really was mystifying to me as to how many Rays fans out there, and I've heard from so many of them throughout the season. Boy, did you see that catch Jose Siri made? Did you see the home run that he hit here? Oh, my gosh. I'm telling you, according to some of you, he was like the second coming of Willie Mays. But, of course, those of you who love to praise Jose Siri, or love to commend him for his, his incredible feats. And look, he made some incredible catches from time to time. He made some incredible throws from time to time. And he'll hit a majestic home run from time to time. He had 18 of them last year. Problem was, according to some of you, he was the best 187 hitter that we ever had here, who didn't give it his all. And that's the problem that I had. I didn't have a problem with him being the person that he was. I had a problem with him half-assing it, showing up his manager, Kevin Cash, and his teammates at times. That's the problem I had with him. But every once in a while, you'll see an incredible feat, an incredible defensive play, or an incredible throw. He teased you. He was a BT. He was a baseball tease. He teased you with that tantalizing talent every once in a while. And that's why some of you, I was getting tweets. I would get tweets on Sunday afternoon. Oh, you just missed what Jose Siri did. Really?
I swear, Tom, you take one picture with the guy at Tropicana Field, and he's headed up to New York to your childhood team. I mean, you just can't get away from this guy.
One picture that I took with Jose. It wasn't with Jose Siri. There's a picture of Jose Siri. We just had some jokes, jokes. Speaking of jokes, I'll tell you, this guy's a joke on the Bartow 4DA text platform. Joke. Steve, you're a joke. Congrats on running Siri out of here. Listen, I've got talent. You don't. I make great calls. You don't. I make great observations. You don't. I'm a winner. You're a loser. That's the difference between you and I. Just remember that. I'd love to run your ass out of town. Remember, you get on my blank list, you're out. And there's been a long list. And useless, irrelevant listeners like you wouldn't know that because you don't pay attention. But you know what? Keep on doing what you're doing. It's a great look on you. Go on, get out of here. Siri's gone. Siri's a Met. That's hilarious. A lot of you on the text platform, outstanding. 888-546-4620 is the phone number. Text at 82945. You know, the idiots are on the text platform. It leaves two of them, you know. Steve and Sincerely Guy, the two biggest idiots, I'm telling you, on the face of the earth. But you know what? Keep doing what you're doing because, you know, funny. You guys are doing funny stuff, by the way. We will have fill in the blank coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. The Pinellas County Commission hearing. Eric Neander, I don't know if you have any interest. He does have significant interest in what goes on there. But right now, the county commissioners are talking about the Rays as we speak. And Chris Latvala is right there. He's addressing it. Do you think the Rays could tell the city, okay, you know, if the damages are $50 million instead of repairing the trop, just cut us a check instead, and we're going to continue playing in Tampa? No, that's not what's happening here. But right now, the county commissioners are having a discussion about the Rays. And unfortunately, the act of God is one that no one could have foreseen. And with the Rays right now in serious jeopardy of maybe leaving Tampa Bay, because with this stadium deal falling apart, what's next? Everyone is saying, well, they should just come over to Tampa. Yeah, with what money? Do you got money? Do you have $700 to $800 million? Because that's what it will take. In Hillsborough County 7 years ago, thought they had an arrangement, and the Rays, and this was the Rays' fault, and I've said this many times, and the Rays know it too, because I've had conversations with them too. If Stu would have backed up his end, they'd be opening that stadium this year. The one down in Ybor. And again, what do I keep telling you guys? The longer you wait, fill in the blank, Chris Mathis.
The more expensive it gets.
Right you are. The longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. If you're going to wait to buy a house, maybe you don't have the finances now, that's fine. A lot of people like to do that, but again, you wait, generally, it's going to get more expensive. If you're going to wait on building a new ballpark, the more expensive that will get. And I'm telling you, the $56 million or whatever they said the price tag would be to fix the trop, it's not $56 million. It's going to be a heck of a lot higher than that. I'm telling you right now. All right, when we come back, your calls, your texts, you got fill in the blank, the latest on what's going on with the Rays with the Pinellas County Commission. That hearing is going on now. And your thoughts on the Rays trading Jose Siri to the Mets. That's coming up next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
It is The Drive, and it is presented by my guys over at Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. And right now, they've got Black Friday savings happening all month long here in November, and they're awesome. The best selection of new Nissans in the Tampa Bay area. And, Chris Mathis, no payments until 2025.
You got that right, Tom. They also offer rates as low as 0% Tampa Bay and pre-owned vehicles priced wholesale to all of you, the public.
And every purchase comes with the industry-exclusive Moss Care, which I've got, by the way. It includes lifetime oil changes, tire rotations, and so much more. I bought my last 2 vehicles over at Moss Nissan. I love them. I cherish them. Brad Meredith is awesome. And my guys in the service department, I will see them on Friday. My guy Brandon Cruz, my guy Tony, because on Friday, we're taking the show on the road. We're going to be live on a Football Friday from Moss Nissan up on North Florida Avenue in Tampa. So we'll see you there for a Football Friday. They're in Tampa. They're also Newport Richie and Brooksville. Also, check out their inventory online
savings at Staples.
1, 2, 3. Broadcasting live from the Rude Air Conditioning Studios. We are Tampa Bay's home for sports and Buccaneers fans around the world. Over 20 years and counting. 95.3 WDAE and the mighty AM 620. Powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Follow WDAE on social. Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Now, back to The Drive with TKras on WDAE. Streaming live on Alexa and the free iHeartRadio app.
I said before, we're happy that we were able to figure out how to stay in the area and make sure that our fans could be able to go to our game. And that was a priority, and I wish there were more options, but there wasn't. And I'm just thankful that the Yankees extended their hand to help us out.
That's Matt Silverman, Rays president. When he was on with me last week, this was after the announcement that the Rays would play their 2025 home games over at Steinbrenner Field. And he said, look, we just want them in the area. And look, that was the only option. The only logical option available to them. And it checked off a lot of different boxes. I mean, Steinbrenner Field upgraded the facilities. Parking, check. Upgrade. Larger capacity, check. You're on the Tampa side, which obviously is a big check. Baycare didn't check those boxes, especially when it comes to the facilities not being adequate. And the Players Union had a say in that as well. As we welcome you back, 4:52 on your ride home. The Drive with yours truly. I'm back in the saddle, taking you up until 7 o'clock, 888-546-4620. Intelligent text only at 82945. Like, I got a short fuse right now, and I'm going to start blocking people for just downright sheer stupidity. Like, if you think you're being, like, kind of funny, you know, with stupid things to say about what's going on or about me or the show, I have no tolerance for that. None. If you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Yeah, not going to get into that.
Thank you, Shane Boz. I don't want to get into it as well. The breaking news also is that the Rays have traded Jose Siri to the Mets for 2 batting helmets and a baseball bat to be named later.
No.
Come on.
What?
I know you're excited that he's out of the Rays.
No, I'm not excited. I just think that it was a move. I'm not surprised by this at all. And you can see this coming from a mile away.
Yeah, you talk about addition by subtraction. Almost reminds us of Devin White, the Bucs moving on from Devin White.
And it has a similar feel to it. Because Devin White, like Jose Siri, extremely talented. And we saw glimpses of what kind of player he could be. But both players obviously didn't give it their all. Both players kind of naive a little bit, more so Devin White, in terms of how he dealt with certain situations, how he dealt with the media in certain situations, just immature behavior. I think Jose Siri kind of had a lot of that too. And now they're both gone. And we couldn't do nothing about it. We've got fill in the blank coming up at 5:30. We'll take you into 7 o'clock. By the way, there was talk out there, and the Pinellas County Commission, they are discussing the Rays right now as we speak, and we'll give you the very latest on what's going on there. Now, I can tell you that Brian Auld is there at this meeting. Matt Silverman was at the meeting, but he had to leave because he had a prior commitment for a charity event. So that's why Matt Silverman left that meeting, just so you know.
Might want to say it louder for the people in the back, Tom.
Matt Silverman had to leave early. He had a prior commitment for a charity event. That's why he left. But Brian Auld is there, and I don't know where this is going to go, but, you know, the bond vote delayed. The stadium deal is pretty much dead in the water, and I'm upset about it. I'm dismayed. I think baseball here is absolutely on the endangered species list. And once you lose it, you're not getting it back. A lot of people are wondering, well, how about an expansion team? You're going to fork over $500 million for that? Because that's how much it will cost. Oh, out of the 813, does Chris Ladvala have the info you just gave out by why Tampa was better for the Rays farther? I don't know. I think he does. I know there was some talk out there about political contributions made by the Phillies. The Rays also made one too, by the way, years ago. He will join me tomorrow at 4:30. So we're going to have a discussion. It's not going to be contentious. It's not going to be confrontational. He does have a responsibility for his constituents, which is the Clearwater area, which is the Largo area, more northern Pinellas than southern Pinellas. The commissioners that represent like southern Pinellas, they're for the deal because that's where the deal will impact them in that neck of the woods, downtown St. Pete, southern Pinellas. And the commissioners, kind of like on the northern side of the county, probably don't like the deal so much. But Chris Latvala will join me tomorrow. And look, we're going to have a conversation. It's not going to be contentious. I'm not going to sandbag him. I'm not going to jump him. I'm not going to ambush him. That's not what I do. I've got questions ready, and we're going to have a discussion. And let's see what kind of answers he comes up with. I think we're going to know more in the next 24 hours. We're going to have more clarity on the situation than we do now. All right, we'll step aside. 2 hours are in the books. Coming up, 2 more hours to go. The latest on the Pinellas County Commission, the meeting going on right now. Is baseball on the verge of leaving Tampa Bay? While that could be a reality, plus the Rays made a big trade. We're going to tell you about that too. It's The Drive. We'll be back.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
All right, folks, with the holidays coming right around the corner, my guys over at Green Tech Roofing and Solar, they want to get your home prepared for the holidays. The number one roofing solution in Tampa Bay, my guys over at Green Tech, they helped me out after I had some issues following the hurricane, and I'm grateful to them for that. They're locally owned, licensed, and trusted by the Tampa Bay community. And look, beware of out-of-market companies, guys going door to door, hey, you want me to fix your roof or you want a new... Don't do that. Go with the guys who have been there, done that. My guys over at Green Tech Roofing and Solar can do it for you. They have over 400 5-star reviews. I'll give them 5 stars for the job they did at my home. They do residential, they do commercial. So get a free roof inspection right now. Go to greentechroofing.com. That's greentechroofing.com. Green Tech Roofing and Solar. This is Smart Roofing.
Tampa Bay Sports Radio, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Hey guys, Ronnie Lane here. Have you been hitting the gym more this year but not getting results? Well, if you're over 40, the problem might be low T. Testosterone is the primary hormone needed for building muscle, and if your testosterone is low, you'll be working twice as hard and getting nowhere. Get your testosterone tested at C4MH.com. Just $45 gets you lab test and medical exam. And C4MH.com only treats with pharmaceutical testosterone and never makes you pay for treatments in advance. C4MH.com.
Get up to a 30% upfront bonus to use for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year to help grow your retirement income. Whether you're in retirement or will be retiring within 10 years, Trajan Wealth can offer some of the highest guarantees in the business. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know no one wants to work forever. We all need to retire someday, and I know you've worked hard for your money, so now is the time to guarantee it. Take advantage of up to a 30% upfront bonus for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't woulda, shoulda, coulda. Get up to a 30% bonus just for opening an account, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Retire the right way, the Trajan way, with Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today at 813-550-1000. That's 813-550-1000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
TKras, Tom Krasnicki. I'm in studio with Emily Johnson from the Gold and Diamond Source, where you are celebrating your 40th anniversary. Tell us about it.
Yes, 40 years of business. We started with gold-plated seashells, and now we have a prominent jewelry store where no matter what you're looking for, we have it under one roof. All for the Tampa Bay, all for really this entire country. I mean, Gold and Diamond Source is known worldwide for the jewelry that we offer, and it's just a family-owned environment. So no matter what you're looking for, no matter what your budget is, we have you covered. We have Emily collections starting at $100 all the way to diamonds worth millions. Steve, my stepfather, has worked so hard in making sure we have an amazing collection of jewelry for anyone who walks into the doors.
You can find anything at the Gold and Diamond Source. It's like shopping in like 5 or 6 different jewelry stores, all under one roof. So join them for their 40th anniversary. 40 years of expertise here in the Tampa Bay area. They're at 3800 Omerton Road in Clearwater. Always online at goldendiamond.com. Tell them TKras sent you.
Ronnie Lane here, and when I'm not talking sports, I'm talking about ways to keep my hard-earned dollars in times like these. That's why I'm personal friends with Steve and Elizabeth Holland, co-founders of the Holland Group Retirement Wealth Advisors. I was able to get Steve to tune in and mention what he and his Holland Group family do for their clients. Take it away, Steve.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ronnie. You know, we have built a clean business for over 30 years, creating thousands of customized, inflation-adjusted, tax-advantaged, comprehensive retirement plans, and we were the first company in Tampa Bay to do it. That competitive edge has enabled us to hone in on our craft. You know, Ronnie, we have never had a client return their retirement plan and say, hey, this doesn't work.
Steve, I believe it. Folks, check out my friends by Googling the Holland Group Retirement Wealth Advisors. They have solid reviews online you can read, which matters enormously.
To our Florida neighbors, your Lowe's community is still here with you. As you recover after Hurricane Milton, you can lean on us for help with cleanup and repair. We're open and ready to help you get the supplies you need after the storm. We're here for your community. Visit Lowe's in-store or online to find out about relief efforts in your area and to get emergency supplies now.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
Win $15,000 in new impact windows from Reese Windows. Text HAPPY to 20129.
Broadcasting from the Rude Air Conditioning Studios. The reigning, defending, and undisputed home of Tampa Bay sports talk for over 20 years. We are 95.3 FM W237CW Pinellas Park, 95.7 WRUB HD3 Clearwater, 96.7 FM W224BE Brent, and the mighty 620 WDAE St. Petersburg. Streaming live right now on your free iHeartRadio app. All your sports, music, talk, and podcasts. Hey, Tampa Bay. Free has never sounded so good. It's Tuesday. From Newport Richey to Zephyr Hills and all around Tampa Bay, plus worldwide on iHeartRadio.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up. Because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
We'll talk about that another day. Today we're talking about the fact that we know where we're playing games. We know that Brandon Lau's going to be sitting there hitting against that short porch in right field. And we get to talk a little bit about baseball, and that's a nice change from the conversations we've been having the last couple months.
That's Rays President Matt Silverman from the conversation I had with him last week when I asked him if he was concerned about the bond vote. He pulled like a Todd Bowles grunt or Kevin Cash, you know. The other day is today. Today would be that day. because the Pinellas County Commission is meeting. Vote delayed. Stadium deal dead. Baseball in Tampa Bay in serious trouble. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. Listen, I'm trying to, bring some levity to the conversation because it's going to prevent me from absolutely blowing my top. I am so dismayed right now. It's 5:06 on your ride home. The drive with yours truly. I'm back in the saddle. Chris Mathis on the other side. You there, 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Fill in the blank is coming up at 5:30. We'll take you up until 7 o'clock. The Pinellas County Commission right now is holding their meeting. It's also a public hearing. They are talking about the Rays. They are talking about the Trop situation. The bond vote, which is not happening. So we're going to keep you updated on how this transpires. Right now, County Commissioner Renee Flowers is addressing the room, and Brian Auld, Rays president, is there. Matt Silverman was there. He had to leave for a prior commitment. So right now the county commissioners are talking and addressing each other and addressing the situation regarding the Rays and where it stands right now. I'll tell you where it stands. Look, the Rays sent the letter to the Pinellas County Commission, a warning letter like, hey, listen, this delay vote means this deal is probably done, dead in the water. And the reason why is some of you are trying to text in and looking for clarity, and I get that. We're actually getting some intelligent texts in between some, usual imbeciles on the text platform at 82945. But Mitch texting in from a couple of minutes ago. Tom, I'm curious why the Rays would send that letter to the council before such an important vote. I mean, it seems counterproductive. Did I miss something on the vote? Are they currently voting right now? Thank you, Mitch. Mitch, there is no vote happening right now. And the letter was sent in order to heighten the sense of urgency, shall we say. Look, the Rays were pulling what we call the old squeeze play, where you're trying to squeeze the commission to, bringing this vote back up and approving the bonds where we thought they were approved from a few months ago. But there was an incident, an event that took place that has set off another chain of events that has us right now in this predicament. And a lot of you want to blame Chris Latvala. And I'll say this about Commissioner Latvala, and he's going to join me, by the way, tomorrow at 4:30. He's going to be on this show. How he handled himself on social media was probably not a good look. And I'll bring that up to him tomorrow. I mean, there are certain things you should probably stay away from. I think social media was one of them. He said a couple of things, and he provoked some people on social media. That's probably something that he shouldn't have done. He does have a responsibility to his constituents, and this is one of the guys that did vote no back in July. So I don't know why people are up in arms. I mean, they introduced 2 new members to the commission, 2 members who are skeptics. That's why this deal is right now dead in the water. But Commissioner Latvala will join me tomorrow on the show at 4:30, and I do have some questions for him. It's going to be a discussion. It's not going to be an ambush by any sense of the word. I'm not going to do that. That's not what I do. I don't ambush people. I do ask tough questions. They're thoughtful questions. They're not contentious questions. And we're going to have a conversation tomorrow. Right now, they're talking amongst themselves. There was a public hearing. There was some public comments, too, that were taking place. And we were going to have Chris Latvala on the show today, but he has his hands tied up with this meeting that started at 2 o'clock, and it's going to run into like 8 o'clock this evening. So that's why he will not be on the show today. But right now, baseball in Tampa Bay is in serious jeopardy. And if I had to gauge it for those in the military community, and they know where I'm coming from, if I were to put it on a scale, we're at DEFCON 2. That's where we're at. With the bond vote being delayed, and the Rays are stating because you're delaying the bond vote, that means we cannot break ground in January the way we had originally hoped to do. And the people that they hired to come down here and work on the stadium deal are not coming now. And that's costing the team tens of millions of dollars. Architects, builders, consultants, they have suspended those operations. That's why they sent the letter, hoping maybe it would create a sense of urgency. That is not the case right now. And I'll tell you what is the case right now is baseball is obviously on shaky ground. And I don't know how else to put it. Out of the 727 on the text platform, did we ever find out who dropped the insurance coverage? It was the city of St. Pete. Because for so many years, they're like, okay, we have this enormous insurance policy. It was at like, what, $50 million? And they decided to scale it back to $25 million because it was going to save them $275,000 in insurance premiums. Oops. And that's what usually happens, right? When you scale back your insurance, like on your home or your car, that's when something usually happens. It's an unfortunate fact of life. We've all been through it. And the city of St. Pete just went through it. My goodness, you cannot make this stuff up. This is what's happening. And the one event that has changed the entire landscape of this situation and that has put the Rays now on the precipice of maybe taking off and leaving. Like we know they're going to be here for 2025 at Steinbrenner Field. In 2026, if they don't repair the drop, who knows? There's all types of options now that are on the table. And we're in trouble. We're going to lose this team. If we don't band together and do something about it, we're going to lose baseball, and that's going to affect hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. A 30-year arrangement to keep the Rays there, to keep that development up and running, to create more jobs, to create more business, to continue to grow the economy. You take the Rays and that redevelopment off the table, then you're talking about an entirely different conversation. And look, whether the Rays are here or not, per the agreement of the lease, they're going to profit from the redevelopment rights. They're going to profit. Might as well do it with them in the area than with them not in the area. Let's go to our phones. I'm exasperated right now because I've been doing this topic for 15 years. I've been here for 20 plus years. And so many times from one situation to another, when we talked about the Al Lang putting the sale, that didn't work. The Ybor situation, and that was the Rays' fault because they didn't come up with their half of the money. Hillsborough did. And because Stu Sternberg didn't go the extra mile, and that is his fault, and I've said that here for the last few years. That fell apart. Now we've got this situation here. Of course, the split city thing with Montreal was never going to work. Ever. This might be the last straw. And if this one goes out the window, then all bets are off. Looks like it is going out the window. Keith is in St. Pete. Keith, good afternoon.
Let me say I love your show. I always have. But I go the opposite. I don't believe Manfred's going to let the 11th largest TV market be without a team. I don't buy it, period. And I think the enemy here is Steve Sternberg, and he has to be removed. That's the only, because he doesn't care about the area. He never has. He never will. He pulled the Montreal crap. Everything else he's pulled, and he has to go. That's the only way. If he doesn't go, we're in trouble. Thank you, Tom. I like your show. Bye.
Thank you, Keith. I like you, too, for calling. Bye. Keith in St. Pete. And look, I ain't going to disagree on that last part. And Stu has been approached, and I've talked about this, too, on the air for the last 18 months. He has been approached by different investment groups about buying into the Rays. And once this deal was hammered out over the summer, Brian Auld was on this show with me talking about it. And I asked him about the financing because the Rays had to come up with their $700 million of a deal that apparently is dead now. But at the time, Brian Auld mentioned when I asked him about ownership and maybe people buying into the Rays or maybe the Rays being sold altogether, he said, look, we got to come up with that money for the stadium. And there are several ways to do it. We could have investors come in, yada, yada, yada. And that's been the conversation. Maybe investors buying into the Rays or the Rays being sold altogether. And I do believe that the Rays will be sold no matter what happens here. The Rays are going to be sold. That's my prediction. It's going to happen, I think. Mike is in Clearwater. Mike, you're up next. Mike, what's going on?
What's up, TKras? How you doing, buddy?
Hi, buddy. What's going on over there?
Yeah, just great. You know, I can't believe out of all the years and how many games I went to. I went to Game 7 of the ALCS in 08, and I, so many games, countless amounts that I probably went to my last game this August 11th in a 2-1 Sunday afternoon game over the Orioles. And I never even thought, hey, this will be my last game at the Trop. I would have taken more pictures and stuff, and it's a little sad to think of it that way. But another thing is, with the Steinbrenner Field thing, I think the World Championship Dodgers are coming to town on August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, at the end of July and August. I mean, you're not going to catch me outside that time of year. I'm going to be sitting on my couch with ring dings and Pepsi and watching that game on TV, buddy. You bet your marbles, man.
Well, look, and I understand that, Mike, but those games will sell out. I mean, you're only selling out 11,000 plus in the 13 suites, but when the Yankees or the Dodgers, and thanks for the phone call, or the Red Sox, any one of those signature teams come into town, I mean, I think all 81 games are going to sell out. That's just my take on it. And from the people that I've spoken to, I think that's going to happen. Let me see if I'm... The White Sox come here in July. Yes, you're right. August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the defending World Series champs, the LA Dodgers, will be here.
Oh, nice.
It is nice. And, Mike, you're more than welcome to stay at home. Look, the TV ratings are great. And going back to Keith's phone call, yes, Tampa is a big market. The Tampa-St. Pete area, the Tampa Bay area in general, which is Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, the number 11 television market. That's big. I don't think baseball wants to leave here. And look, if you're Rob Manfred, get your ass down here and get involved. You want to be involved? You better get involved, because right now would be a good time to interject yourself. Let's go back to the phones. Got a lot of people want to talk about this. Sean is up in Lutz. Sean, what's going on?
TKras, number one, let me say you are truly the best thing on the radio since Steve Dumig passed away. You are awesome and you're underpaid. Let me tell you this. Steve Dumig also had a list of just jagoffs that would call up and he would just kick them off because they knew nothing about it. So I feel your frustration with some of these people. As far as the Rays are concerned, the Rays moving here to Hillsborough County, I know some people behind the scenes here, they're saying they're gearing up now to build a new Buccaneers stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not going to have the money to build a new stadium for the Rays now because they chose down there. So I cannot believe the incompetence of Pinellas County not having emergency funds in case something happened to the Trop. How ridiculous is that?
And Sean, look, I mean, everyone, like not every American, and I appreciate the call and I appreciate the comments too, because I got other callers. Not every American saves for a rainy day. I do. Okay, that's just me. That's the way I was brought up, to be kind of wise with finances and always looking forward to the future. And trust me, I've been looking more towards the present and the future, especially in the last 2 weeks, than I have been prior to the last 2 weeks, if you understand what's been happening. You have to, especially when you're in this chair, when you're in this market, when you're in this profession, you better plan for a rainy day. You have to. Not everyone does, though. And look, St. Pete City officials are like, okay, we've got this. I'm assuming you're talking about the insurance at the Trop. When they lowered it, it was at 50 to 25, so they can save, what, $275,000? Nothing has ever happened. That is when something always happens. When you think, oh, nothing has happened to this point. Let's drop the insurance down. A lot of you have done that, either for your home or for your car. You never know when you're going to need it until you need it. And they got caught with their pants down. And look, I don't blame them because they thought, okay, this thing has been here since 1990. We only have a couple more years left. What could possibly happen between now and the end of 2027 when we have to blow this thing up? That's when it happens, when you least expect it. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it, bud. Drew is in Largo. Drew, what's happening? Good afternoon.
Hey, I just wonder what the city of St. Pete is going to do with the land that the stadium's not going to be built on if the Rays leave. It's like, it's desolate, barren right now. What are you going to do with it?
Well, whatever happens there, Drew, the Rays are going to get a cut of it. And that's per their lease agreement. The redevelopment rights, whatever gets redeveloped there, whether the Rays are here or not, they get a cut of it. It's a sweetheart deal. It's a beautiful deal. Might as well have the Rays there than not there. Whether the Rays are there or not there, the Rays get a cut. I've been watching Tulsa King, and by the way, I just finished up the last episode. Fantastic. I'm not going to spoil it. Love Sly Stallone. And, there's differences of opinion between him and the guy Bevilacqua from Kansas City about getting a cut of the business that they're doing. 20%, 50%. No matter if the Rays are there or not, they still get their cut. And yes, I know, we talked about it in the last hour. Some of you people, hey, did you know that Jose Siri got traded? Well, sound the alarm. Stop the presses. Yes, Jose Siri traded to the Mets. Are you unhappy about a 187 hitter that didn't give his all like half the time? I can't believe they traded him. Really? Like, what planet are you on?
Oh, I don't know.
I know what planet that guy's on. And you could see this coming from a mile away, unless you loved Jose Siri, Sorry for your trouble. And as one texter pointed out, we just traded Siri to make room for Juan Soto. I don't think that that's happening. I love the optimism. Now, the Mets met with Juan Soto. And did you see the report? Their first offer, they made an offer already. $660 million was the report that I saw over the weekend.
Okay.
Now, Chris Mathis.
Yes, sir.
Would you like me to refresh my prediction, which a lot of you laughed at, by the way, and that's why I'm here. You're there, by the way.
Yeah, I would, because you were pretty confident and firm on these numbers, about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago now at this point, so let's hear it again.
That's right. I think Juan Soto is getting $60 million a year over 12 years. 12 and 720 was my prediction, and I'm feeling pretty good about that because if the Mets are coming in at 660, then the Yankees can ill afford to lose Juan Soto to their crosstown rivals. Hal Steinbrenner is not going to stand for it. A bidding war is about to take place. In fact, it's already underway. Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, maybe the Giants get involved. He's getting over 700. All right, when we come back, a check of traffic, and a lot of you are stuck in traffic. We're going to get you home safe and sound. We'll take you up until 7 o'clock. When we come back, the thought of the Rays leaving Tampa Bay leaves me feeling blank. Fill in the blank next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
It is The Drive, and is presented by my guys over at Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. And we're going to be there, by the way, at the Moss Nissan location in Tampa on Friday. More on that coming up in a matter of moments. Their Black Friday savings are going on all month long here in November. The best selection of new Nissans in the Tampa Bay area, hands down. They've got the market cornered there. And Chris Mathis, no payments until 2025. What's up with that?
I mean, it's incredible, Tom, what they do there at Moss Nissan. All 3 locations in the Bay Area offering rates as low as 0% TKras. Also offering pre-owned vehicles priced wholesale to the public.
Yes, you are correct, sir. And every purchase comes with the industry-exclusive Moss Care, which includes lifetime oil changes, tire rotations, and so much more. I've got Moss Care in my vehicle. In fact, I bought my last 2 vehicles over at Moss Nissan. That's how much I love Nissans A, B, how much I love the people over at Moss Nissan. And we're going to be live at the Moss Nissan location on North Florida Avenue in Tampa Friday for our show from 3 until 7. So come on by Friday for a Football Friday. We're going to be live, the drive from Moss Nissan in Tampa. They're also in Newport Richey or Brooksville. The Drive with yours truly. Boy, this Pinellas County Commission meeting, I was watching it during the break, and there's some interesting stuff happening here, Chris Mathis. I'm watching it, and right now, Brian Scott, the vice chair on the county commission, is not happy with the Rays. And he's saying because back on October the 29th, and I'll get into this.
You want to fill the blank right now instead, Tom? I think we should.
I'm going to fill in the blank right now, presented by my guys over at California Closets Tampa Bay. Hit them up, CaliforniaClosetstampaBay.com for inspiration. And here's our inspiration, Chris Mathis.
All right, well, it is an honor and a privilege, but Tom, over
is
the
it
weekend,
really?
Yeah, of course it is, man. Hanging out with you, talking Rays baseball with TKras and all the Rays fans out there.
How much longer are we going to talk about the Rays?
That's why I'm appreciating it that much more here on this Tuesday afternoon. All right, Tom, you were blank when you saw John Romano's story regarding the uncertainty of Rays baseball in the Bay Area on Saturday.
Nervous. I was nervous when I read John Romano's article, and we were efforting to get him on, but he's got some commitments. He's tied up this week, unfortunately. Chris Ladvala, Pinellas County Commissioner, will join us tomorrow at 4:30, so we're looking forward to that chat. But when you read that story, you just get this sinking feeling that, oh, no, this is not going down a right path. It's going down the wrong path. And, you know, a lot of people want to blame Chris Ladvala. I don't know if I would lay it all on his doorstep. I think there's plenty of blame to go around. I think the Rays and Stu Sternberg, who, you know, they're trying to pull the old squeeze play. I'm not sure that was the right tactic. Chris Ladvala, maybe a little bit of blame there, but you already knew where he stood back in July. If you point to one event, it was Hurricane Milton. Hurricane Milton has set off a chain of events that has gotten to us where we are right here, right now, which is the vote being delayed, the Rays thinking this deal is dead. Right now, Brian Scott is telling everybody, look, he's not happy with Stu Sternberg. He said he had a conversation with Brian Auld. Hey, where are you going to be for the next 3 years? And he said Brian Auld kind of gave him the runaround and mentioned MLB, the Players Union, they have a say in where we play because of the facilities and everything else. That's why we chose Steinbrenner Field. And, you know, look, for 2025, I'm happy that they're going to be there. 2026, where are you playing? That's the big question, and I don't think anyone knows the answer to that.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either, Eric.
All right, enough talking the unfortunate news and expectation for your Tampa Bay Rays.
Well, what about Jose Siri? You got something on him?
Yeah, you want to go back to Jose Siri? Okay, all right. Jose Siri no longer being a Tampa Bay Ray has you feeling blank.
I don't know what the feeling is. It's not happy. Some of you, boy, you must be ecstatic that Siri got. I'm not ecstatic. I'm not surprised. How can you be surprised to hear that Siri's no longer a member of the Rays? He got traded to the Mets, by the way, in case you're just getting in your car. They got back Mr. Met and Mrs. Met and a batting helmet to be named later. I don't know.
No.
What? I insult anybody.
He does make some flashy plays. He's just not very consistent.
He's a flashy player, but a lot of you fell in love with a guy hitting 187, which is comical to me. You knew he was going. The effort wasn't there all the time. 187, he had one of the worst strikeout rates in baseball. Well, why are you surprised? Why are you glorifying this guy? That's what I don't understand about some fans. What's the matter with you?
You said 187 batting
187,
average?
Chris Mathis. Yeah, is right. Is right. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah, and not good enough either. Not good enough. All right, let's talk NFL. The biggest flop in the NFL this year has to be blank.
Oh, my gosh. If it's a tie for first between the Jets and the Cowboys, it's the Jets and the Cowboys. Co-flops. Co-floppers. The Cowboys are just an absolute travesty. They're 0-5 at home. They've been getting their brains beaten at home by just about anybody. They stink. And the Jets are a catastrophe. That's what they are. They're an absolute disaster. They fired their GM today after firing Robert Saleh. I would absolutely clean house. And I would start with Wendy, the 80s haircut, the delicate genius that is Aaron Rodgers. Get out. Get everybody out. Except for a handful of players. Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner. Those are the 4 guys you build around. Everyone else can go. Get out.
You. Out. All right, the Atlanta Falcons, Tom, they fell short to Denver.
Fell short?
Yeah.
They got their brains beaten. They got their doors blown off. What are you talking about?
Kirk Cousins, man, he looked a little off. He looked off. I didn't say it. The Atlanta Falcons right here, right now are blank.
I think they're in disarray, and I think they're on the bye this week. And like the Buccaneers, when they got their bye, it could not have come at a better time. They need to step back. They need to kind of regroup. They need to self-scout, self-evaluate, because they were awful on Sunday in Denver. That was non-competitive football. The Denver Broncos absolutely destroyed them. That was not a contest. They've dropped 2 in a row. They need to go back to the drawing board, just like the Buccaneers needed their break, mentally as well as physically, after they lost 4 in a row.
Tom, you know what, Rays fans, Tampa Bay sports fans, we've had it hard here the last couple of days, weeks, whatever the case may be, however you want to look at that. But now with the Rays Stadium in particular, it hits that much more. I hope you can give me a good answer here, Tom. I speak on all behalf of Tampa Bay and the Buccaneer fans. As of today, Tuesday, the Buccaneers will blank.
What's the question?
This game on Sunday against the Giants.
I think the Buccaneers are going to win Sunday. I'm not going to say they're going to beat the Giants' brains in.
Let's go.
You know, Tommy Cutlets, veal cutlet, chicken parmesan, whatever his name. It is exciting. Whatever his name is, I think he might be a problem because of his athleticism and the whole backup quarterback, syndrome that a lot of Bucs fans keep buying into. He can make plays with his legs. I'm telling you, that was probably if I were the Bucs and Todd Bowles, I wanted Daniel Jones to remain the starter because he stinks. I wanted to take advantage of Daniel Jones. Now you got this young, upstart kid with a lot of athleticism, a lot of moxie. He can make plays with his legs. A lot of Bucs fans are a little more nervous, but I think with Mike Evans potentially being back, Jamel Dean is back, Mike Edwards is back. Hopefully that helps. Antoine Winfield Jr., he's the guy. He's the guy that needs to step forward. I think the Buccaneers will take care of the Giants on Sunday.
You talk about them wanting Daniel Jones. Are you wanting Daniel Jones?
Absolutely.
Mike Evans had some comments on that. Mike Evans said
he wants you to be available.
He's talking. Obviously, you were talking to Daniel Jones, but he's not available here on Sunday. That is fill in the blank here on The Drive.
Nice job, Chris Mathis. Fill in the blank presented by my guys over at California Closets of Tampa Bay. Organize and upgrade your living space with California Closets. Head on over to CaliforniaClosetstampaBay.com for inspiration. They did my garage once upon a time. They could do your garage, your closet, pantry, entertainment center. My guy Kenny, he owns California Closets. Tell him I sent you. They do great work. I'll take a couple of calls. In case you missed it, more NFL with Mike Florio coming up at 6:05. Devin is in Tampa. D, what's going on, my man?
TKras, I'm glad that you're back from your suspension. Good to have you back. Listen, this is exhausting, man. My entire life, there's been this dark cloud over the stadium. I was in middle school when the first stadium failed, and they just continue to poop all over the Tampa Bay community. You're a transplant. You came from up north.
I did.
And you have embraced this city. You do fantastic things around here. Jeff Vinnick, the Glazers, they're not from here. They embrace the city. It comes back to one person, and it's Stu. He's owned the team for forever and just moved here. He doesn't embrace the city. There's been 10 million people that have come through the county commissions and all this stuff, and it's always come back to Stu. He could have put up the less money than he's agreed to put up for this stadium in Tampa, and this would have been done. So don't tell me that you didn't have the money to do it, because you clearly did, because you're now paying more. I just don't get it. It comes down to him, and TKras, they don't want to be in St. Pete.
They don't.
They know that.
I agree with you. It's very, very disturbing, and I appreciate the passion, Devin. That's Devin in Tampa. The Ebor thing, they should have went the extra mile. Again, the longer you wait, the more expensive it gets. Fred is out in Vegas listening through the iHeart app. This is Craig's dad. Hey, Fred.
Yes. Hey, TKras, how are you?
Hi, buddy. How are you?
Great. I'm doing good. Let me go. I think this was about the Rays. I think it was inevitable, and it actually started in the 1980s when Tampa and St. Pete became provincial with each other. We're going to build this stadium so you don't get it. And it's a shame the politics in the area has been that way ever since.
And I can't stand it, Fred. I can't. I hate politics. I don't completely understand it all the time. But this should be about the region coming together and figuring out the best possible solution and moving forward with it. And look, the Rays have to do their part, and I'm hoping the politicians can do something. I just don't know what can be done at this point. If this deal is falling through, I mean, I think we're certainly in a very bad place.
Well, way back, Craig, our son, who you're well aware of, he worked for Mr. Nimoli, the first owner, and he was no better than Stu. And, the other thing is, if they were going to build a stadium in Pinellas, put it more central so that people could come get there. And, you're comparing the politics. Okay, we live in Vegas now, obviously. Things in Vegas get done because they say, the community says, and the politicians, and of course the industry, the casinos, we need a football stadium, it gets built. We need a baseball stadium, it's going to get built. We need an arena for the hockey, it's going to get built. They're going to build an NBA arena, that will get built. The politicians in the area have to say what's best for us, rather what's best for St. Pete, what's best for Tampa. How about the people in the area who put our hearts into the Rays for many years? Our family was crazy. We still go with Craig and our grandson Brady. We fly all over to watch the Rays every summer. Seattle, L.A., Phoenix. We go, and Minnesota. We go because we love the Rays. But it's just very, very, very frustrating. And I'm an old man now, so it's very frustrating.
And I'm with you, Fred, and I appreciate the phone call, and tell Craig I said hello. And I'm frustrated by it, too. And I've been here more than 20 years, and I've been talking about this stadium situation for 15 years at least, going back to 2009, when they had the whole Al Lang sale concept that fell through. And then they were looking at other areas around Tampa Bay. I know the Rays really love that Armature Works area, but a developer came in and they took that land, so that was off the table. And the fairgrounds have been mentioned and floated around in the last several years as well. This is dire, though. And I'm watching this commission meeting with no sound, and I'm trying to follow along with the closed captioning as I'm talking to you guys, so I'm multitasking too. There needs to be, kind of like what the Commanders did against the Bears. Remember from a couple of weeks ago? We need like a Hail Mary. We need like a bounce, a fortuitous bounce or something. Prayers do get answered, and I think that's what we need right now, to be quite honest. And I'm hoping we get it. All right, when we come back, we're going to let you know what's on tonight. Mike Florio coming up after 6 o'clock. Can the Bucs make a run? The best team in football right now is who? Who's the next coach that gets fired? Is Bill Belichick going to be back in it? We will
Amazing deals on everything you need for the holidays, from custom holiday cards and photo gifts to laptops and gaming systems, even shipping solutions. And now save up to $350 on select computers. In-store only. Offer ends 12/28. Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples.
Broadcasting live from the Rude Air Conditioning Studios. We are Tampa Bay's home for sports. Shouting Go Bulls with horns raised for over 20 years and counting. 95.3 WDAE and the mighty AM 620. Powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Begin your drive into the office the right way. The Pat and Aaron Show. Tomorrow morning at 6. Now back to the drive with TKras on WDAE. And streaming live on Alexa and the free iHeartRadio app. What's on tonight with the drive with TKras?
Yes, sir. And it's brought to you by our guy, John Howard, and his amazing team at HowardTeamHomeLoans.com. Here's our guy, Chris Mathis.
All right, Tampa Bay. We've got a lot going on, obviously, surrounding your Tampa Bay Rays and the future of the Rays and the Bay. I don't know exactly how I feel about that, but one thing we are for certain with is the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be taking on the Penguins in Pittsburgh tonight. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. Also on tonight, while you're checking out your cell phone or your desktop, go search up 95.3 WDAE and AM 620 on YouTube and download the free iHeartRadio app to catch up on any features, any guests, and hour-by-hour podcasting, all commercial-free at your fingertips.
Very interesting stuff happening there. So I'm watching this Pinellas County Commission hearing, and they're talking about the Rays right now, and the commissioners are chiming in, and oh, man, it's interesting stuff. Interesting. And I hope that there's some sort of Hail Mary resolution to all of this, but it certainly doesn't seem like that right now. And Ken Welch, the mayor of St. Pete, I kind of feel for him because this was his vision. The gas plant district, he was so passionate about this entire project that had the Rays ballpark included in it. That's going to create all these jobs. That's going to create economic growth in that area. That's also going to bring that area to another level, an historic area, an area that means a lot to him and to the history of St. Pete. And just to throw this all away, I think would be absolutely just disgraceful for me. It would be. We can't have it happen, but yet it is happening. And I'm disheartened by it. All right, 3 hours down, 1 more hour to go. Coming up, can the Buccaneers make a run coming out of the bye? They will face a new quarterback this week. Who's the next head coach that gets fired? Where's Bill Belichick going? Because there will be some openings. And who's the best team in the NFL? So many questions. The Bucs, the NFL. We'll talk about it. Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com. Also from NBC.
on the Drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
I actually feel like a player right now. So ever since I've been out, they've been treating me like a coach. So feel good to finally feel like a player again.
Jamel Dean is back, and he needs to be playing like a player, too. He is back off the injured list. He's got to start playing like a player and not like a fan or a coach. But Jamel Dean and the Buccaneers off the bye.
No.
What?
You insulted him a little bit.
All right,
You
maybe
snuck that one in there, Tom.
I did. I like
snuck that in
Jamel,
there.
too. You know, he's a great dresser, too. He's a good player. He's got to stay upright. He's
Great guy.
He is a good guy. And he's an important player for the Buccaneers. The second half of their season begins Sunday at MetLife Stadium up in Jersey against, Tommy Tutone or whatever his name is, Tommy Cutlets or Veal Parmesan or whatever.
Hey, don't be joking around like that, Tom.
Tommy DeVito.
This guy might be dicing up that Buccaneers secondary come Sunday if we're not careful.
He may very well do that. I mean, I would much rather face Daniel Jones if I were the Buccaneers. I can tell you that. Now you got this other guy in there. He won a couple of games last year, including the Packer game. So, can the Buccaneers beat the Giants and go on a run? Let's go to the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. He's standing by. He's the author of a new book that's coming out for the holidays. We'll tell you about that in a matter of moments. From ProFootballTalk.com and NBC's Sunday Night Football. He's being led toward the ring by the devious one, Mr. Fuji from Parts Unknown. Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com's back with us here on the show. What's up, Mike?
Was Mr. Fuji a wrestler before he became a valet?
He was. Mr. Fuji and Mr. Saito. They were tag team champions. I remember as a kid, Mike, back in the day, they beat Tony Gurria and Rick Martel when Mr. Fuji reached into his tights and he pulled out one of those, those McDonald's like salt packets, and he threw it right in the face of Rick Martel, and that's how they won the tag team belts. There's a history lesson for you.
Foreign object. The guy who had always, at least was suspected of the foreign object, was Iron Mike Sharp with that big wrap on his arm.
Yes.
There was a foreign object inside Iron Mike Sharp's foreign